it'll be the last game I'll ever make that led to Fierce to Fathom. A lot of improvements in terms of the graphic fidelity. So we're gonna have more seasons, kind of like a blessing and a curse. But I don't play a lot of horror games myself. Hello everyone, my name is Mukuneki. I go by the name Real on the internet, and I'm the creator of Fierce to Fathom. I made first 3 episodes of Fierce to Fathom by myself, solo in my bedroom. And you're watching me on Games Made in India by IGN India. I started making games fairly young. I was 14 when I started, and I was just like super enthusiastic about making games from the get-go. I guess it's like the same for a lot of young developers right now. I used to play GTA Vice City, and it really inspired me, right? So just seeing that game and games like that, just the fact that you can create a game that people can live in for a few hours, or however long you make the game for, it was just a fascinating idea to me. So I remember, I would come back from school, just throw my bag away, and just get onto it. And I loved every second of it. I started working on Fierce to Fathom, thinking that it'll be the last game I'll ever make, because I had this idea and I just wanted to try it out, see if it works or not. I struggled with motivation a lot starting it out. So what I did was I bought a few assets. It cost me like 50K or something like that. I just gathered all the assets that I thought that I would need for the project. I did so because like 50,000 was a really big amount for me at the time. I did so to keep myself motivated, knowing the fact that I already invested in the game. So if I wouldn't finish it, I would have to deal with the disappointment of wasting that money. So for that reason, I just bought those assets and started working on the game. And when I was working on Fierce to Fathom in the early days, I remember I was in college, right? I remember my friends getting placed at like big companies, and I was just like, I felt like this loser working on this stupid ass project. So it's just like there have been a lot of times where I wanted to give up, but it's just like I said to myself, I came this far to not only come this far. So that kept me going. They were getting so predictable, right? I feel like this totally rely on jump scare a lot. Like they get very repetitive. I'm talking about like indie horror games. I saw those indie games and I said to myself, there's a lot that can be done here, just to enforce like a more of a believable story. Because before I started out Fierce to Fathom, I used to watch a lot of like creepypastas, read like on No Sleep and all that stuff. I found just like reading that text way more horrifying than playing the horror game, which is supposed to be more horrifying because you see pictures, you see the sounds and everything. So I was like, how about that just like flipped the switch in me. How about I kind of combine creepypastas into shitty indie horror game, and then I just like combine it, and that led to Fierce to Fathom, and it just worked out real well. So I think the biggest challenge of working as a solo developer was, I think I'd say it's the motivation, because when you're working alone, it's like kind of like a blessing and a curse, because there's nobody over you, but then you have to keep yourself motivated to work on the project yourself. There's not going to be anybody to tell you that you have to work on this. So it's like kind of a struggle to keep yourself motivated throughout the project, which could be a year long, or even more than that. So just to keep yourself motivated, I think is like the biggest struggle as a solo developer. It's just 2 people right now. It's not like there's a programmer, there's an artist. It's like 2 people working on the game. So we don't label things like that. Anybody who plays indie horror games, like they would know about Puppet Combo, Chilla's Art. So just starting out, I saw a streamer playing a Chilla's Art game called Convenience Store, and I just looked at it, and just like gave me like a feeling of like coziness, which is really weird for a horror game. But to me, it worked really well, because the idea is you make the player feel all cozy, make them feel all safe, and then you get the tension up. So I think that works really well. So yeah, Chilla's Art and Puppet Combo, they inspire me, big time. So here's the thing, right? A lot of people think that we're gonna end it at 5 episodes, but the way things are planned is we're gonna label things as seasons. So we're gonna have 5 episodes in this season, and then when we're done with the 5th one, which is going to be the next one that we're gonna start working on, we're just gonna release another season, and we're gonna introduce a lot of design changes, a lot of improvements in terms of the graphic fidelities and sounds, and just overall design language of the whole series. So just to say, like, we're gonna have more seasons. We're not stopping right now, not yet. So I think what helped me personally is just like being able to see players playing Fears to Fathom on YouTube, like people who have already played the game. I just look at it and go like, okay, what I'm making, people are enjoying it, and I guess it does hold some value. So, let me just work extra hard on this. And, it is super nerve-wracking. And I'll say this also, when you're working on a video game, you will feel like it's super, it's super crap. Like, because like you play a lot of times, right? So you have to realize that your game is not as bad as you think it is, because it's just because you've played it a million times. You're not the right judge to, see how good your game is. Have playtests, have your friends play the game. I remember even when I released, I almost didn't end up releasing the first episode of Fears to Fathom. The only reason why I released it is because I asked two of my friends to play my game. Shout out to Raghav and Shanshu. They played the game and they were like amazed by how good it was. On the other hand, I thought that it was pretty bad. It just made me realize that you're not the right judge as a game developer to judge how good your game is in terms of playability. Don't quote me on this, but I don't play a lot of horror games myself. I'm not a horror game player, which is really weird for me to say, but if I would have to point out a horror game, I think I would probably say The Convenience Store by Chilla's Art. So for real studios, I'm not trying to bite more than I could chew. So we're going pretty slow, because like I'm still pretty young, right? I'm 21, still have a lot to learn. So we do have things planned that may come into fruition in upcoming years. That is, for example, we're planning on like couch games and turning Fears to Fathom into a co-op game, and we'll call it Fears to Fathom Together. So it's just like still things we're flirting with right now, but we're still like trying to zone in on Fears to Fathom, what's working right now, and what's people are asking for. So yeah, so what do I think about the scope of game development in India? I think there's a lot of potential in India. It's we have a long way to go yet, but there's a lot of potential, and I feel like I'd like to see more people diversifying in the things they do, not everyone going into the tech. I'd love to see people trying creative fields. It could be filmmaking, could be game development, could be writing, could be songs, raps, stuff like that. I really, really want to see that coming out of India. And I think we have crazy potential if we all just don't go, where it's super competitive. So if we, smart way to do this right now is to choose a field that's like less competitive, even though, gaming is super competitive worldwide. It's not the case in India. Like, I'd just love to see more of you guys, in the gaming field in India. Has crazy potential. My message to all the parents out there in India would be, needless to say, I wouldn't be here where I am right now. The game wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for my parents and all the support from them. And I'll say this, that the best investment that my parents made on me, it's not school, not college or anything else. It's the fact that they're supportive of me or doing this, and the fact that they bought me a laptop. I guess it's just because I could make games on it. He bought me a laptop back at a time where our family was really struggling with financially with finances, and it really helped me out. I owe my parents for that a lot. Yeah, so just to say, it has potential. Just gotta believe. There's a lot of potential. Okay, so I think my number one advice to anybody young trying to make the game is, as young game developers, we want to make the biggest thing ever and want to be everywhere. I think for me would be finish what you're working on. Doesn't matter how big it is, doesn't matter how crap it is, just finish it. Because when you finish a game, just look at it, even no matter how bad it is, look at it and ask yourself, what does it give me a foothold to do next? Like, how can I make this game better, or how could I have made this game better? You need to make bad games to make good games. So my only sole advice would be finish what you're working on. Developers like me, we work on our video games whole year, right? Like we're in our room working. But when we get to a place like this at IGDC, we get to meet a lot of like-minded people, and a lot of people working on the kind of living the same life that we're living. So it's just like, it's more so of a validating factor, to see people doing the same thing as you are. And I think it's it really, really helps to connect with them. So thanks for watching this episode of Games Made in India by IGN India. And follow fiercetofathom.com and like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys.